This is Beyond with Heather Tesch, where we examine near-death experiences and life itself, hopefully making this life a little better. Hello, everyone, and welcome back to Jeff Riley.
Hey, everybody.
It's great to have you here, Jeff. You really told us a beautiful story in the last episode, and I hope everyone will take the time just to listen to that at some point. But right now we're going to go forward, and we have a lot of questions here. So I think there's a lot more for people to learn about your experience. You had a near-death experience when you were 23 years old. And one of the things you mentioned is that you were in blackness. But I found that interesting because a lot of people call that the void. And it is something that a lot of people experience.
My vision was dark. It would be like if you're in a dark room, but I was feeling, and it's like I said, I could make out the tunnel. It was like energy.
Right.
Yeah, I could definitely, it was pulsating. It was turning very slowly. And it was dark. I could feel the love. I really wish that I could have seen a light or, like trees or, like a lot of people are, like I was standing in a field and there was a beautiful light. I could with the love, I could feel kind of that light.
For people that are going to return to this place and there will be this love, can you describe to them what they may experience in terms of what you experienced?
Well, the love, it's like being in an ocean in the middle of it. It's all around you. It's everything. It's penetrating. It's not physical. So it's not coming from a person. It's just vast. And if you're in the water, if you're underwater, the water's all around you. It's penetrating you. It's all of that. It's just, what is the moment when you feel the love for a family member, for a parent, for yourself? It's all of that. It's all encompassing and all around and all penetrating and overwhelming and just the greatest thing that there can be. And it's nothing that maybe love is like the iceberg. We feel the tip in this life. We feel the little bits of it. And then when we die, we get the rest of the iceberg. It's overwhelming and it's just pure and incredible.
That iceberg is a really good analogy, that we get a little bit of it, the tip of the love. And then there's so much more that is waiting for us. And so did you retain your personality then, or did you feel that you lost some of that when you kind of melded in?
Fascinating that you asked that. I was my soul consciousness when I was there. I came back. I feel like I was still my soul consciousness. A little later, it took a few days, my physical brain started kicking in. Whatever personal traits, whatever quirks, whatever knowledge of history I learned in second grade, then that came back. In a way, it would almost be like if your leg falls asleep. You can't feel your leg, but then you feel your leg again after a while and the feeling comes back. So like, okay, now I know my leg is there. My physical brain and what my physical brain is did come back. But when I was into my soul consciousness, I wanted to cry at people who I perceived as acting not badly, but just being mean or something like that. It was like I was like 5 years old. I did come back and it was like I was a 23-year-old, 5-year-old. I look back on it now, I'm almost embarrassed by it because I was so sensitive again, and just some people I knew were like, "What's wrong with you? Like, you're acting like you're an upset kid." And I'm like, I kind of was.
Well, and it was interesting because you said it was like you were reborn and that your perception was blown wide open.
Yes.
Yeah. And so it was kind of hard because things that maybe seemed normal before now seemed kind of horrible.
Yes, and people would tell me, you look like you're staring right through me. Because now I'm like, I'm seeing the whole person. It's like I'm seeing them naked now.
Mm-hmm.
And it is the kind of thing that if someone's doing it with you, it can be kind of creepy, because I'm like, it would be like, this person's seeing everything that I am now. And this person's perceiving, I feel like I'm good at it now, to the point where it's like, I'll see a politician or something and I'll be like,
Mm-hmm.
he or she is one of those, it's got this, that, or the other thing.
Mm-hmm.
This person seems, I'm honestly not judging, but it's like you have those binoculars now. You see different things. You see people in different ways that you didn't. Over time, as we grow up, we get so many defense mechanisms, and we get so much inner sludge, and kind of personal toxicity and all that we just fit in with everybody else. But you come back, you have that happen, and yeah, you start seeing some things. But I definitely make sure to not be a hypocrite. I try to look at myself the same way now. Kind of like Michael Jackson, man in the mirror. I'm starting with me. I kind of come back now, and it's almost like if I'm judgmental, I'm only doing it like that person needs to be stopped. But as people, no, I'm not really judgmental, but you do gain a kind of new perception now that we forget when we're kids. We learn to forget. I think our parents, a lot of our parents kind of drive it out of us.
Yes.
Like people get weird when you stare at them or something like that. But I kind of didn't have a choice. I just came back. It's what happened.
Well, I certainly think that when people have a near-death experience, or if more people did, it would reset a lot of people. You said you didn't blame people because they forgot. So did you feel any judgment when you had this experience?
No, because that's not God, but my physical self does. Because I don't know if I came back because I have something to correct. I don't know if I came back because I wanted to, because maybe I felt like my mom would be very upset. My mom would be very upset. But I don't know if I came back for that reason. So I keep trying to. It's like there's a blank I don't need to fill in, but I keep trying, because I am kind of an information geek, and I am kind of a collecting knowledge person and stuff like that. Because part of me is like, what if I don't do it and I'm supposed to? What if I'm not paying attention to correcting something that I might have wrong when I'm supposed to? Maybe I say to myself all the time, God, I trust you. I don't trust myself. I don't trust myself to not mess something up. Because I'm like, I know maybe God is like, okay, Jeff, you're going to go there. And I'm like, maybe I screw it up and I go over there. So I'm like, okay, I pay attention to that.
Or God is pretty chill and just says, hey, if you go there, that's fine. If you go there, that's fine. And, I'll kind of guide you back to where you need to be.
God is completely chill. God is a beer. He's not a doer. God is when you're in that place, you're in that state of being, you're okay. You don't have to do things to be good. You don't have to do things to count. There's so many doers in our society, and that's great. We need that. We need science for health and things like that so we can access the spirit. There are a lot of doers that are like, if you're not doing things, you have no meaning or no. And I'm like, no. Does a child have value just by standing there? Then that's us too. We don't have to do stuff to be important. There are a lot of times when I personally am just like, God, I want to do something good to help out and help you and help society.
It seems like you're asking some of the same questions that many people are asking.
Mm-hmm.
About, what direction do I go? What do I do?
Yes, we need to be very, very gentle and kind and understanding with ourselves. because we do tend to get, so many people are hard on themselves, but they're hard on themselves because they feel like they're not doing enough. They're not good enough. They're not successful enough. But a lot of that comes from a good heart, I think.
Mm-hmm.
And I do just want to say to them, it's just do the best you can. It's okay. Be in the right place, be on the right team, have it in your heart. God's not a building. God's not a book. The Bible's wonderful. I'm not saying any of that stuff. But God is in motion. God's in here. We carry God in here. And when we do that, we're in the right place. I have to believe that you don't need to have a near-death experience to have God in your heart. I think God is inside all of us. And if we access him, if we're free of impediments, free of drugs or addiction or whatever that we get so used to in life, I think we can feel that.
And what I found is that people that have had near-death experiences are so humble and they're so kind and they're so giving. So I do think it changes people in that way. How do you think it changed the trajectory of your life? You know, is there a new Jeffrey versus an old Jeffrey after this experience?
Yes. Old Jeffrey was very, very locked, because when we're younger, we go to school. I played sports. We're so engaged in society, we learn to act and react. If we want to study act and react, that's all politics. It's like one person says something, the other person reacts, and people don't pull back and say, well, no, let's think about this. Coming back, I've been able to now pull back. And now I'm watching it. And I'm just kind of like, I'm just observing it. It's like it's like you're a God scientist in a way. It's like, okay, I was there and now I can observe. A good part of me doesn't want to do anything that would be corrupting to me necessarily. I'm very, very hesitant to get in any kind of materialistic trouble. Like, okay, you got this job now and this, that, and the other thing, because I don't want to go on that path. When people are like, okay, I just made $1 million and now I get to do this and go there and have all of these things, I'm just like, it's a waste of time. It's a waste of time. You're going to die. You're going to lose all of that stuff and you're going to be right back to the beginning again. There's going to be that reset and all that money, you're just going to realize you didn't wait, you waste all your time. A funny thing for me is that if people say so-and-so is going to die and God's going to punish them or God is going to whatever, and I'm like, the people who would punish them are themselves, because they are going to go to that other place and they are going to feel that love and they are going to regret any negative things that they did. And if they do come back in a physical body, they are going to say, I wasted all of my time on money and stuff and just going the wrong places because I couldn't submit to goodness. And again, I'm not judging. It's like it's a missed opportunity in that way. But it's like God takes you in his arms and he's like, okay, here's what happened, but it is all so much love. And you're like, okay, I feel bad now because I didn't live the right way.
And did you feel that way?
I feel that way every day. I'll remember certain things from my life and I'm like, the time in school when a kid was getting made fun of. I was bullied because we moved out of state when I was young. And when you get bullied and you're hated by everybody for no fault of your own, you start ladder climbing. And if there's another person that's getting made fun of, you want to be part of the group and you start making fun of that person. I did that a few times and I'm so mad I feel so bad for the person that was made fun of by me or attacked by me. And because you only have that one time. And years later, you can get in touch with that person and say that I'm so sorry. And it might have destroyed that person in that moment, and you can't get it back. There's some people who just want to apologize so they can not have guilt, which is self-serving. Like, oh, they forgave me. Now I don't have guilt anymore. Look at me. Pat myself on the back. And I'm like, I resent that kind of thing so much.
In some ways, when you are thinking about that here on Earth and you feel bad for these things, maybe you'll avoid it in a life review because you're already taking it upon yourself to want to be better and to learn from that experience.
I look back at times like that and I'm like, you know, when the conditions are right for a certain situation physically and things just happen, I don't know if I could have done anything differently. I was being bullied. I was very emotionally upset. We moved out of state and I was acting as an animal. This is what I got to do to survive. And it was instinctive. I wasn't reasoning anything. The older I get, the more I can reason, you know, why I'm doing this and that. I didn't have any of those capabilities then. And that's one of those things that you just ask yourself, you know, why did that have to be that way?
I also think that we all do stupid things when we're kids. We all make poor choices. We all have been cruel at times. And I think God wants us to learn from those. But I don't know that God wants us to continually beat ourselves up and dwell on them. And in a way, it's as if we're not accepting his forgiveness if we continue to hang on to that. Does that make sense to you?
Absolutely. I do think that a lot. Certain things that I have done in the past, like as far as my benzodiazepine taking, I was doing it for good reason. I was trying to make college work. And I was having such bad anxiety that I couldn't function. So I'm like, well, I gotta, because I played sports, my attitude is always tape it up. You know, you hurt yourself, tape it up, get back in the game because you got to contribute. But now I do look back at certain things, and if I didn't know, it's easy to forgive myself because in those instances, because I do look at myself as somebody else would. Well, I'm looking at it like if it was happening to somebody else, I look at it and I'm like, it's a tragedy, a step-by-step tragedy, because that's when a snowball gets going and, you know, it runs somebody over, that was a step-by-step situation that led to a tragedy. And I look at it now, I shrug my shoulders with a lot of it, and I'm like, I wish it wouldn't have happened. I wish all the people that I knew, I wish I was at my best then. But I'm kind of like, well, we had some laughs. My friends and I, we had some laughs. We had fun. We had some laughs. So there are positive things. I wish that I could have been a very uplifting person, but I was very typical. I was very typical in that way. So,
and yet you maybe were that way because then you could have this life-altering experience, and then you could share this experience with the rest of us. And in some ways, I think it's important for people to hear that there are people like you that got lost and you got back on track, because there are people that are feeling lost right now. And I think it gives them hope.
Well, God took me in his arms. We will all be in his arms again. I can't predict for anybody else how that will happen. And for me, I don't know why it happened and I came back. But if it is to give people strength, I want that more than anything, because that is timeless. I hope having people hear that helps them. I hope that they can kind of think, oh, okay, that's there now. Somebody experienced that. Now I know that. Like, I didn't know 2 + 2 = 4 before, but now someone came across it, and now I can say, okay, I can go do that and use that as strength now. But it's like I say, when we pass, we're all going to go back there. So it's like I say, for anybody that has an addiction or whatever, it's tough. It's so tough because you feel so powerless over. I know a lot of people in my life felt powerless over what was happening with me. I felt powerless. But when we die, it's like we go to a happier town. We go to a cooler place. I can't really sum it up any differently than that.
Well, that's beautifully said. Jeff, do you have any parting words for people that are listening, or encouragement for people that are hearing your story right now?
Enjoy corny, sappy, wonderful movies. Enjoy It's a Wonderful Life when Clarence comes back and helps George. Enjoy The Wizard of Oz when she goes home to her family. Believe in those things, love those things, enjoy those things, because that's the love and the spirit of God. And it's not cynicism or corruption or darkness. It is the love of people and beauty and all of those fun things. And don't feel ashamed of any of that. If anybody says those are corny and you shouldn't pay attention, no, that's when you're in touch with that sort of thing, you're in touch with what it's all about. And we should all be so lucky as to be in just that state of pure love for ourselves and for each other.
Of course, The Wizard of Oz has those monkeys. I stopped watching that when I was a kid because it was too scary.
The journey is tough. Well, the journey, it's life. The journey is tough. The journey gets messy and scary, but in the end, there's that beautiful, happy ending. And I think that's the physical ending is often not happy, but so many of those wonderful movies tap into that eternal spirit of goodness and happiness. And I'm like, that's it. That's what it is. That's what I experienced. And God bless it. Thank God for all that sort of thing. And that there are signposts in this world. And I think a lot of us know them when we see them. And we know them when we feel them. It's when we feel them that's what it's all about. That's that beauty. And that's what that's all about.
Well, thank you so much, Jeff. I can't tell you what a pleasure it has been talking to you over these episodes. And for all of you that are listening, this is a real treat because Jeff has not shared his story before via podcast or really publicly. So it is such an honor that you came here and allowed me to talk to you and share your story. So thank you so much, Jeff. And for everybody listening, please share your comments. Jeff and I would love to hear your thoughts and encouragement as well. So thank you, Jeff.
God loves you all. He just wants you to know so badly that God, he loves you all so much. And it's real.
That's wonderful. Thank you so much, Jeff.
Thanks for joining me on Beyond with Heather Tesch. Please add comments and questions you'd like future guests to answer. Also, if you liked what you heard, please hit the thumbs up button and subscribe. That'll help keep this podcast going. You can also go to Beyond with Heather Tesch to look for more episodes.